sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a big fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Why am I quoting that? Oh, you better stay here and I'll tell you. Welcome to the Sermon on the Mount, and that's not a Kamala Harris reference before you start. Yeah, wrong. Welcome to Live 99. 99 sounds like an ice cream from where I was brought up. But welcome to Live 99 of the Theatre of the Mind. And if you wouldn't mind, if you could just budge up in the pews, because there's a fair few trying to get in. Some slackers, some latecomers, and late comers are always welcome. So I'm told. And there's lots to talk about tonight. It's today's bollocks news, so to speak. Well, this is not monetized, so what can I say? I can say anything I want. Somebody did say on a comment on one of the videos, Adrian, I can see your lights. Can you? Just so you can see my handsome fizzog, it's reflecting in me gogs, and I need me gogs now because I want to see everyone's comments. So if you can see past the lights, then we're all good. Before everybody gets their feet under the pews, everyone's welcome. If you've got any altar wine whatsoever, please share it round, because, well, it's a bit warm this evening, and we do need a little livener. And to everyone that is still complaining about my cough, I'm going to see the doctor about it tomorrow. He'd probably just say, oh, we'll chop one of your sphericals off, Adrian. That'll help you. I've got to untuck it from my sock first. To Control-Alt-Delete, just stashing myself amongst the pews at the back. Didn't know you were a backdoor kind of guy. Control-Alt-Delete. And before I say anything, I will reference X, because I'm much more active on X now than on YouTube, simply because there's videos that I can upload to X really quickly. I can pass comment on things in real time on X. It's just a little more complex for the videos and stuff that goes on YouTube. So the live's still here, Sunday, Wednesday, 8 p.m. But if you go and find me on X, there's a shed load of stuff that goes on there, as Control-Alt-Delete will testify. The other thing is, there's some really weird stuff happening to me this week. I know spiritually what it means, but I've got lights switching themselves on and off. I've got me ring light. That's not a euphemism before you start. Me ring light switching itself on and off last week. And now me printer. Me printer is printing in the middle of the night when I'm not even in the same room. We know what that is. There you go. See, me printer. It's just having a bit of a dance. Tart. Nigel Green says, evening, yeah, wrongin'. Who was the drunk alcoholic I was sat in the pews next to on Sunday? Good question. Very flirty, and when I asked what she drinks, she said she loves Dickens cider. Never heard of it. Have you? I haven't got a Dickens. Del Ashton says, Adrian, no Battenberg in the shops, so I've popped in early to see if there's any leftovers. Oh, you utter wrongin', Des. Utter wrongin'. Nigel Green says, a jolly good evening all fellow wrong'uns. Oh, I say. And so long as I can get hold of me little rollerball. Andy Sinsky says, evening, you bunch of wrong'uns. I've just signed up for the British equestrian team. I love a good whipping with my Battenberg. Oh, Andy, Parvard. I did see the equestrian that, there was, I know Newcastle United fans do have a tendency to punch horses in the face, as is being recorded by history, but equestrians doing the dressage, I saw somebody punching a horse in the face, and I was thinking, what they up to? Mistreating animals? How very dare they? That's absolutely not on. So, I've seen an equestrian whipping her horse. Oh, dirty tart. Andrew James says, what? Beat his chest and swings from Battenberg to Battenberg. Oh, sorry. What What beats his chest? It's that apostrophe S that you missed off, Andrew. What beats his chest and swings from Battenberg to Battenberg? A perverted Tarzan. Oh, I say. Amalia Grassi. So confused. So glad I saw this. I thought it was Thursday today. Chaos reigns supreme. We are so glad that you're in the body of the Kirk this evening, Amalia. No, it's not Thursday. 'Tis Wednesday evening. 8 o'clock. Every Wednesday evening. 8 o'clock. Top of 69. Evening, Adrian. And all you utter wrong'uns. Did you know you can buy Battenberg sweets online? Really? Tell me more. Who? I mean, I have. Well, no, I'm not. Well, we are preparing things for Sunday, but I'm not sure that PR and press departments are that quick in responding to my emails. But Togger 69, where on earth do you buy Battenberg sweets, or do I have to go and do my own research for them? Alan says, sick note, Britain. Hope none of you wrong'uns are shirking this week. Behave, Alan. Shirkers here in the body of the Kirk. How very dare you? I've even got the choir boys on duty, mind you. I've had to pay out a whole load of Mars bars to get them in here. The bunch of slackers. They were otherwise being entertained by a different reverend. How very dare they? Is this country, sorry, Amalia Grassi, going to get milk to drink and stick washing out to dry? Brilliant, Amalia. The officer involved in Manchester airport arrest removed from operational duties. Oh, we are going to talk about that tonight, because it's both sides are now digging in for trench warfare. I will give you a bit of insight, because I did look at the video. I have posted it on X, and it's... Well, we will talk about it. That's all I'm going to say. We will talk about it. Alan says, is this country teetering on the edge of the abyss again? Not felt this way since 1066. Oh, Billy of Orange. Yeah, exactly. There's a reference for you. Pastor Battenberg, yeah, utter wrong'uns. Oh, I think Alan is definitely in need of a little sustenance. So if anybody's got any spare altar wine and a spare slice, or ice, or dice, then Alan's your chap. He's in need of some sustenance. Andrew James, the top of 69. Not sure on Battenberg sweets, but all the ladies are going to wear revealing spandex whilst they sing Cats UK Luton Airport for the lads. I remember Cats UK. Fan my brow. Luton Airport. Wasn't that Boddington's advert as well? Where did you fly in from? Paradise? Nah, Luton Airport. Lorraine... Can't remember her second name. I think she's dead now. Well, she looked like it the last time I saw her. Worrell, whose turn is it to ring the church bells? I'm not having anybody talk about my ring. Ring the church bells this evening. I'm busy in the tower winding up the clock spring. Oh, I say, the old Bovril, 2 hands. It takes absolutely ages to wind up. I normally give it a very good one-liner. It normally sets it off. Andy Turner, gee, sick of reading about Jay Slater and the family begging for more GoFundMe money. Oh, we are going to talk about that, Andy. We are going to talk about that. Andrew James and Theo. Bovril, it takes a strong woman to do that. Or 2 hands, as I keep telling the missus. Karen Boo, the UK. Hello, all you runs. Hope everyone is well. Oh, we haven't had anyone say that they're going to miss this evening's sermon due to ill health, but I do hope that any of the parishioners in the body of the Kirk that's not feeling so grand tonight, I do wish you well. I have every empathy and sympathy for you. I went to, how can I say this without them chucking me out of practice? You never see an impoverished dentist, do you? I went and had a filling done today. Holy Jesus, at least Dick Turpin wore a mask. Hundreds. I said to her, I'm going to have to go down to the middle of town and flog my derriere. Why would you do that? Well, to make all this money that I'm shelling out to you. That's why. Oh, God, she was in my gob for ages. Make your own gags up. And a couple of 100 sobs later, it was like, oh, blimey, should I go downstairs? Is Dick Turpin wearing his mask and his hat, and has he got his horse tethered outside? Sheesh. No, you never see an impoverished dentist. They're all making far too much money and malleting my wallet. And there's no in there to start with. Andy Turner, a police officer armed with a taser, kicked and stamped on a man's head as he was lying face down on the ground at Manchester Airport. Gee, Andy, we're going to talk about that because there's stuff coming out now, and I can, we will. Top of 69, predictive text for Foxtrot's sake. See what I mean? Hang on, might be a lot more to it, Andrew. Yeah, there is. Like the female cop got a broken nose. Do we go into it now? Right, we will do, because it's hot off the press, Mrs. Marcia Toms, who's choosing the hymns tonight? Or the hers. Either the hymns or the hers. Who's choosing the music for the sermon tonight? Hope we can have some decent tunes, because you know what I'm like for me music. So yeah, somebody, let's have a general consensus, a consensus of being, or any kind of consensus. Battenberg cherries and sweet tasting blueberries. These are a few of my favourite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad. These are a few of my favourite things. Can't remember the rest. I was too young. Marcia Toms, very good. And Andy Thomas, DJ and producer Thomas Bruckner, known as Tom Kraft, has died aged 49. No, not another one. The star behind 2003 club hit Loneliness, which topped the UK singles chart. There's loads of people like falling off their perch before their time. 49's no age. I can remember my last 49. There was only one of them. I haven't got to my last 69 yet, but I can remember my last 49. And the Reverend is on one this evening. Give him Battenberg. Shut the bugger up. Andy, top of 69. There's tons going on this week, so I hope it's going to be a long one. Adrian, the sermon, I mean. Oh well, length's never been a problem for myself. Top of 69. Bovril. What's he? Oh, where's he gone now? Hang on. Honestly, I give it just a touch and off it goes. Dickens Cider, there's some great vids on that one. Oh, I say, Rich, really? Do I dare? Is it NSFW? Beatles Now and Then channel. What? Oh, right. That's been moderated. I think I'll give it up there. Nuts and bolts. Anybody who is complaining this week over the price of croissant only have themselves to blame for not voting Count Binface. I know, a Count Binface. I fancied voting for him, but I couldn't. He wasn't in my area. Ghetto Defendant says, I've got that cough. Doc says it's from the jibber jabber. It's not, because I've never had the jibber jabber. I wasn't that stupid. No, I'm not judging anyone. I've told you this before. I'm not judging anyone. We've got to pull together. There's an image on the back of your eyeballs you're not going to clear tonight. So we should all... Kaz987. The lights remind me of... This is the voice of the Mr. Ons from Captain Scarlet. Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? It does a bit. Where the Mr. Ons used to kind of... If you're old enough, it's a thing. It is a thing. The Mr. Ons and Captain Scarlet was the thing. Thankfully, the hero wasn't Captain Pink. Mind you, if they remake it in 2024, it'll be Penelope. What was her name? The birds that used to fly, the proper jet fighters. They never lost. Always took the opposition out. But the Mr. Ons used to have circular things where it would kind of, with creepy music, they would sort of go across the sort of human face, or they would go across Captain Scarlet and Captain Black. Captain Black was the baddie. Yeah, brilliant. And they used to... I always thought that it was cloud-based, wasn't it? I find the lights distracting. Oh, man. What? See, there. You can see how bloodshot my eyes are. Mind you, you're going to need both of these, because I want some votes later on. So anyone that is getting worried about the lights on my gogs and think it's the voice... This is the voice of the Mr. Ons. It's not. It's just me and me glasses. But I can be if you want me to be. I'll charge you extra. Viv Kenyon. Oh, don't have X. Oh, Viv, if you haven't got X, get X. Because I must have 20 posts yesterday. I've done another dozen today. It's lively. Yeah, oh, exactly. Where is Tower Block Tracy tonight? Is she... Hang on. Nigel Green. Where's Tower Block Tracy tonight? Is she tied up somewhere, do you think? Oh, I think so. Definitely. Oh, Dave Paturel. It's Paturel. I think that's the first. And before anybody asks, if you're a newbie, just let me know in the comments, because I would like to pop your cherry, your theatre of the mind cherry, for being a newbie. Was it The Angels Fighter Planes? Sexy as Foxtrot. Oh, I know. Nearly got me through puberty. I was only 4 at the time. Harmony Angel. Yeah. That would have been an angel delight then. Oh, Andy Turner says, put the glasses back on, you're wrong, and thanks very much. Love you too. Dear Lord. All the world's a critic. Right, we've got so far in. We've got 100 and odd viewing. So smash the likes if you could, because then it says to the algorithm, oh, I say, something popular's going on. Should we tell the rest of YouTube? No, don't be stupid. So the next live, this coming Sunday, 8 p.m, Rhapsody and Symphony. Oh, and Destiny. Brilliant. Jay Slater, Channel 5 documentary due to air tonight, removed from the TV schedule. Oh, I wonder why that is then. We'll talk about that tonight as well. 70 odd grand in the GoFundMe. Nearly 72 grand in the GoFundMe. And the mother's complaining that there's not enough money. We need money to repatriate young Jay. Well, just off the top of my head, TBT has posted something about being late, tied up with a client who came late, and now she's expressing him like a prize bull. Both hands, moderator. And what was I saying? Yeah, Jay Slater. So when me and you go on holiday, we try to have insurance, don't we? So that if anything goes wrong, up to like a couple of mil, I don't know, you run somebody over in a hire car, or something happens to you, and you wind up dead, they'll repatriate you through the insurance. But the mother's saying, oh, it's going to cost, at least 20 grand. And then, we've got the funeral to pay for. Well, donate his body to medical science. It won't cost you a penny. Do you think he's there in that physical body? No, we're a spiritual being. Actually, we're a ghost surrounded by a little meat thing that gets us through this experience, because we're actually a spiritual being having a human experience, not the other way around. So he's not there anymore. He's up there. Oh, sorry, down there, because he used to flog a bit of gear and loved to waving a machete about. And nobody in the mainstream press has asked about the Rolex. And I'm not talking about a watch. So what exactly... so this is my take. Will we get around to it? I'll just do it now, because somebody's the alerts come up. So Channel 5, being Channel 5, wanted to do a documentary. Oh, I say, what have they found out? Oh, the family wouldn't like that. That's going to affect their earning potential. 70 odd grand in an account, freebie, tax free. Thank you very much. What's a my glass? Where are you? There. Oh, hang on. I think I'm. Control Alt Delete. I've been to the dentist today as well to have a tooth out. Hope I don't have to clean the Battenberg out of my newly made hole. Stick your finger in it. It'll help. Unless you've hung like a well-hung lesbian like King Charles. Get that Battenberg out of your hole, man. Well, at least it'll smell nice. You'll notice I haven't started a GoFundMe. All the usual shysters have GoFundMes. And I would have, and I will be frank with you, and I'm not going to tell you the details, but it would have been helpful having a GoFundMe. It would have been helpful to have a sugar daddy who would have kindly just given me tens of thousands of pounds. For what, Adrian? Oh, can't say. So this Jay Slater. Hang on, let me get this right, because it's kind of like there's a whole load of bad news today, but I don't want to get caught up in the bad news stuff, because there's the Kamala Harris story, there's Joe Biden, bless him. They think we're stupid. So some guy with a Joe Biden mask on gets out of chauffeur-driven and he walks to the plane. Now remember, Joe Biden couldn't walk up or down the steps from Air Force One just 2 or 3 days ago. he had COVID. Obviously, there were pictures of him sunbathing. So he walks past all the press pack, the media, doesn't say a word to them, and walks all the way up the stairs on Air Force One. That's not bloody Joe Biden. And then people were saying to me on the live on Sunday, "Oh, he's put his support behind Kamala Harris." She wouldn't have needed it. She would have been on her knees at the time. It wasn't Joe Biden, man. I mean, I think he's dead, to be fair. I do. And you can tell me anything you want. Just give me the proof. As I asked on Sunday, I said, "What's your source? Give me the proof." And nobody could. Nobody did. And it kind of came out in the mainstream press that, "Oh, yes, President Biden has put his backing to Kamala Harris." Kamala. Is it Kamala? Or are they taking the mickey? Kamala Harris. I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you? It's like Kamala Harris. Why have they changed her bloody name? It's like Kiev. Why did they change the name of Kiev from Ukraine to Kiev? All my life, 60 odd years, I've known Kiev as Kiev. Maybe a bit chicken, a bit garlicky, but I've always known Kiev as Kiev. So what are they going to do? Do we go down to Iceland and start buying chicken Kievs? Don't be silly. TBT into Kirk. Oh, TBT's in the body of the Kirk. I hope she's wiped her mouth before she's come in. Oh, hello, Marcia. Which bit do we go for first? Well, let me tell you, the next live, this coming Sunday, live 100. Live 100. And I laugh my pants off. I do. Hi, Adrian. Luton Airport, Lorraine Chase. Thank you, Leah. Lorraine Chase. She's not around anymore, is she? She went on to become a soap opera actress or something. Amalia Grassi at TBT. I think we are all getting royally fecked by dentists. I've told you. I mean, these are people that have like 10 Bentleys parked outside their home going, "Oh, I don't make much money as a dentist." Hi, right. You have today. I tell you, if all of my clients of my dentist got stung for as much as I got stung for today, they said, "Oh, we need to take a deposit, Mr. Allen." I said, "What do you mean? I've got to pay a deposit?" This was when I went in last time. Well, we've done. You have to pay for the X-ray because it was an X-ray that worked out that I had a hole in my tooth, not the dentist. And yes, well, we'll take half up front. I bet you will. What did Rich just say? Where has it gone? Oh, that's it. Adrian, did you ever think you would get to 100 episodes? I didn't think I'd get to a second video, let alone 100 lives. But I will say that it's taken us a fair while. We're doing them 2 a week at the moment. We are looking at lots of other stuff. It's very gentle because as those who were here from the start will know, I'm not exactly a technophobe, but boy, oh boy, oh boy, does sometimes the technical stuff not really work. Not my fault. It's not operator error, but we will get to 200. The live on Sunday, we are paddling furiously to make something special happen in lots of different areas and lots of different ways. But all I can say is please, please, please be there 8 o'clock Sunday for the 100th live. Stuart, did you ever think you'd get to 100 lives when you started the channel, Adrian? Similar to Rich, I didn't even think I would do a live. I just thought that, see, live radio is a nothing for me because I've done it for so long, so many times. I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of radio shows over 40 years. So you could, I mean, if I was to say to you, right, there's the radio studio, there's the mic, there's the kind of fader for the mic, and then a fader for the phone in and or a bit of music, it probably would phase you a little bit. I mean, I know there'll be some people watching go, "Oh, if only, Adrian, if only, I'd love it." But you stick me in a radio studio, I literally just open the microphone, I'll take care of everything else. And people would go, "What?" "I'll just open the microphone. Here, let's get it on." And at the beginning of this, Andy Turner and AA was shocking. It was a right wronging. Baby, 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 you bet your sweet baby. I was trying to explain something to somebody the other day where I said, oh, the phone-ins that I used to do, Mug's coming. I used to do a phone-in thing, and I used to have people either call in and say, right, I've taken the pills, I've drank a bottle and a half of vodka, and I'm just sitting here reading poetry, want to die. Well, they didn't. They weren't that lucid, and they didn't enunciate their words that cleverly. But there is basically, if you're doing either a late night phone-in or a daytime phone-in, you've got to be prepared for every single outcome. And I'll give you 3 examples of the outcomes that we had doing late night radio. 1, girl called in and says, I'm going to kill myself. And I said to her, okay, off you go. Go and kill yourself. Went to the next caller. My phone up, I mean, his eyes came out. And the boss even rang in to say, what has Adrian just done? I said, don't worry. Anyway, an hour later, she rings back in. Oh, no, I didn't mean to kill myself. No, I wasn't going to do that. I was just joking. My phone up said, how did you know? I said, it's an instinct thing. Because most people don't. They just get on and do it. And I've had very close friends say they've had enough and decide to shuffle off. I've had in South Wales, where if anybody can remember the phone-ins that I did in South Wales or in the East Midlands or the North East or even on LBC across England and Scotland and Wales, you just have a knack of understanding. So Stuart says, when somebody rings in telling you they're going to take their own life, how do you respond to that and what do you say? Sometimes, so I'll give you an example. So in South Wales, there was a woman rang in and she said, I can't go on. I've taken a whole load of pills, wouldn't tell me what they were, and I've drunk a bottle and a half, a litre and a half of vodka. Now that on its own is bad enough. So I just tried to keep her talking. Meanwhile, so I can close my microphone while she's talking on the radio. And I said to my phone op, the stud muffin, I said to him, get the police. We've got her telephone number. Pass the telephone number on to the police, see if they can trace it. And we need to get them and or an ambulance round. This girl's taken a whole load of pills and a litre and a half of vodka. And you could tell by her speech, which was heavily slurred, that I thought what she was telling me was the truth. So I tried to engage her, just get her to read some poetry, because she said she loved writing poetry. So what you have to do, in my view, and I've had no training for this, you have to appeal to someone's humanity. And it's the only way. If you can appeal to their humanity and just engage them, it doesn't matter how you engage them, you engage them. And I can't remember the full conversation, but I just know that after about 20-25 minutes, Stud Muffin, the oppo, answering my phones through the glass, he was keeping me updated in my ear. I've got cans on, I'm talking to her, she can't hear what he's saying, but he's saying to me, right, spoken to the police, they're on the way, they've let us know, they're about 10 minutes away, you've got to keep it talking, And the call ended where there was a... And she said to me, oh, there's somebody at the door. Wasn't that grub bags? Anyway, she says, there's somebody at the door. I was like, well, go and answer it then. She went, I'm on the radio. I said, it's fine. I'm here. I'll wait. Just go and answer the bloody door, woman. Anyway, she opened the door. Obviously, it was the cops. And I could hear kind of the rustling and shuffling and in the background. And the cop came to the phone, one of them, and said, right, we've got her, Adrian. Thanks very much. And I said, thanks for letting me know. Put the phone down. You do not get any more dramatic than that. It makes for great radio. And the difference between, I would suggest, old school that I used to do and the modern day, they're all trying to be really clever politicians. People don't want to hear that. I will guarantee you that figures for certain radio stations are going to start nosediving because people don't want to be lectured to. They don't want to be preached to. They don't want to be told that they're wrong. They don't want to be told anything. They just want to have a community where, a bit like these lives on a Sunday and a Wednesday, people want to know that they are part of something. They can be engaged by something. So we've had wind-up merchants. We've had genuine people that we've saved the lives of. And I'll use this example from a phone-in I did in the Northeast many moons ago. And so a guy rings in. It's about 10 to 1 in the morning. I'm about to finish the phone-in, and I'm just winding a call up from another guy who was a bit of a misogynist, and he was talking about how he treated women and this, that, and the other, and I was like ribbing him and getting stuck into his ribs, saying that's unacceptable. You can't do that. You can't treat women like that. But he was just trying to be, one of the boys, being a bit of a misogynist. This was 20 odd years ago. And I said, right, bugger off. I've got one more call to go to. We'll go to so-and-so and so-and-so in Heaton, in Newcastle. And this voice came on the radio. And he said, it's all right for you to laugh. Because I think my tagline for the call was, I've had some great sex in my time, albeit on my own, but just a bit of a late night adult gag, pun intended. And this guy came on and said, oh, it's all right for you to laugh. I'm standing here and I've got a noose around my neck and I'm going to jump. So I've just finished the noose. It's around my neck and I'm going to jump. Now, I knew he was being serious. Just the instinct. I knew he was being serious. So I had a hell of a dance with him because he was intent on doing it. I had a hell of a dance with him. But the next guy that was on after me, my good friend Norman, if he's watching, my mate Norman was supposed to start his radio show at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I just said to him, I said, look, I can't just leave this. I've got to keep going. So I'm going to keep going with him as long as it takes. I don't know how long that's going to be, but will you help out with the phones just in case I need to do something? And you've got to remember that a late night phone-in, people that feel they're part of something, they will call in. And people are calling in saying, where's this guy? I'll go round. I'll make sure he's okay. Just let me know. And the switchboard was lighting up like a Christmas tree. But all the way, I was on air with him for 4 hours. And I mean, Norman, who was supposed to finish at 5 o'clock in the morning, I think he barely got half an hour to do. But I was on air for 4 hours. And anybody that may do a phone in at some point in the future, the only thing that turned it around, I'd been talking to him for hours, and he was crying, and he'd had a bit of alcohol, and he was very, very intent on doing it. The only thing that stopped him was I was trying to get a hook. Now that sounds quite callous, but I was trying to find something in him that I could just get him to realize that the actions that he was going to take, in my view, were the wrong actions. But I needed something to justify me saying that to him. And this was Friday and Saturday. And we were already into the Saturday. And I said to him, talk to me about your family. You sound like a guy who's got a family and a job. And he said, yeah, I'm married and I've got a daughter. And I said something like, and how old's your daughter? He said, oh, it's her birthday today. And I had him. That was all I needed. I just needed that little window of opportunity. And I said to him, your daughter's birthday today? He said, yes. I said, you do realise if you go ahead with what you're intending to do, every time your daughter has a birthday, it will be the anniversary of what you've done. Do you really want to burden your daughter with that? He slammed the phone down. So I said to Norman, get in here. pinged a tune. It must have been about 3:30 in the morning. Literally, everybody that was listening at 1:45, and there were tens and tens and tens of thousands, were still listening at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when I ended the call. And the phone in just melted. So I got Norman in, he started playing the tunes. I ran into another studio and I picked the phone up and I rang him back. Thankfully, he answered. But I did a little speech, a little soliloquy to him for about 30 seconds, just saying, stay there. I'm going to call you back. Please answer the phone when I call you. I'm going to call you back. And the outcome is, well, hopefully, possibly, he may call or interact with this channel at some point, because he took my advice. And it was his daughter's birthday that changed the whole thing. And we used to keep in contact for many, many years. This is 20 odd years ago. For many, many years. He just used to ring me up and go, oh, I'm still kicking and flinging, Adrian. It's like, brilliant, brilliant. And it's one of the most satisfying things that I've done on the radio. I've done, I've been a bit of an agent provocateur. I've done all kinds of bits and pieces. But that chap that rang the Century Radio phone in the northeast of England one random Friday evening saved his life. And as I say, phone-in guys don't have training. They're not counsellors. They're just people with worldly views and worldly experiences. And they have an instinct. Some of the greats, Scotty, Stanage, Clive on LBC, Alan Robson in the northeast, Bezic in the northwest, all of the great phone-in guys, they have an instinct that's just in there. They don't know how, they don't know why, but it's in there, and they just know when somebody calls up, because human nature is fairly, I'm not saying easy to spot, but you get an understanding of human beings. And I could regale you with loads and tons of stories of things, and any late night phoning guy can do that, because it's the romance, it's the mystery, it's the darkened hours. So everyone is engaged emotionally. They're not using this, they're using this. It's the theatre of the mind, and that's why people listen or used to listen to late night radio, because they could create their own artistry, they could create their own pictures with their minds, the theatre of the mind. They would hear all of these characters, like James Whale. James Whale, when I was a really young guy, Whale and Bezic, and then Alan Robson for Metro in the northeast. There were people all over the northeast that would go into work the next day bleary-eyed, because they would just go, oh, one more caller, and they'd be awake till 2 o'clock in the morning listening to the phone in, night owls. And that's the wonder, that's the amazing things about being part of a community, being part of something that you can be emotionally engaged with. And as I said from the very beginning of this, to answer both Rich and Stuart, from the very beginning of the channel, I wanted it to be about stories. Now, I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell your stories. I'm not going to say much more than that, but you know what I'm talking about, because it's my domain. I'm not suggesting that after all these years and being out of the game for a little while, Rich says James Whale on radio is brilliant. Still is. He's such a practitioner, but I'm telling you, so Whale has his foibles. He's very, very talented. And he's one of the kings, but the supreme king for me. And it's just a personal opinion. And it's because I've worked with him and I know him. James Stanage in Manchester. He was the originator. And anyone that comes after him bows down. And I released something called a Top Man tape. It was actually a CD. And within that, I bowed to the kings. Whale, Scotty, Alan Robson, and Stanage. But I would love to be able to interview these men. The challenge at the moment is I'm speaking to people, and some of them are not. I've spoken to very famous people and said to them, look, I've started a new channel off, and I'd love to do an interview. and they look at the subs number, and they're not happy with that. They'd rather go on Joe Rogan and get 10 million viewers. But I keep telling them, look, this is who I am. This is what I've done. This is my objective for our conversation is to give you a great experience of an interview. I'm not going to tie you up and belittle you. I just want to make it a great experience, because Rogan had to start somewhere. Some of the other big podcasters and YouTubers had to start somewhere. I'm not in this for money. I can't be, because this doesn't make any money at the moment. But what I am interested in doing is creating magic, creating stories, or a place where there's an old phrase, knock on any door and you will find a story. And I just want to unearth some of those great stories. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be the royal family or somebody with millions of subscribers or followers, because you know what life is like. Sometimes you just come across obstacles and you think, oh, how am I going to get through this? But you do. And thereby brings a story. So that's the objective of where I'm going. I want to tell stories. I want to tell some of mine. I want you to tell yours. I want you to be, I want it to be real, raw, organic. I just want it to be you, however you are or wherever you are. And that's what I want to do. I want to tell your story and mine. Leah, that's very kind of you. That's very, very kind of you. So there are some people who I genuinely look up to. There are some other social media operators that I think are wonderful. And they're simply being them. Authentic, I think, is the word that I'm looking for. And I'm going to invite them on. I'm not going to give you any names, just in case it kind of, what's the old phrase, many a slip betwixt lip and cup. So I just want to, this weekend, you're going to have to be on, make sure that you are subscribed, because I think there was somebody emailed me or somebody said something in a comment saying, make sure you're subscribed. Because I know that YouTube has its own foibles, and subscriptions go down, subscriptions go up. Sometimes they go up insanely quickly, and sometimes they just kind of trickle down. Don't know why. It is what it is. But I'm just hoping that this weekend we can get some really wonderful people on the channel and we can talk to them. Some people are nervous. There's some ex-MPs that I'm talking to. There are some very capable and able YouTubers that I'm talking to. But it's just that last step. And if they're watching this to try and get a flavour of the channel, all I want to do is I just want to tell your story. It's a conversation, and that, in essence, is more than engaging for anybody else in the world, because there isn't anywhere else you can go for this kind of thing. There isn't. There are talk channels, of course, and these people believe that they've got to do loads of politics because, well, maybe there's an agenda. I don't believe we need to go and do the politics. We can, and I will try tonight. But stories, that's what this channel is going to be about. Stories, yours and mine. And as I've proven at the beginning of the show, my phone-ins. And I've got lots of audio that we're going through. I'm going off on a couple of 10-day soiree to Sicily in a couple of weeks. Just because I just feel that I need a bit of a holiday, a bit of sunshine. But while I'm away, we're going to do stuff. The team are working on some stuff in the background. So you'll get to hear Screwtube. That's very good, Vixtex. We're going to just give you examples of what I used to do, and what I can do, and what I will do if I'm allowed to do it on YouTube. It's never, ever, ever been tried. Some people have kind of got close to doing what I want to do, but I've said to you before, I'm not going to do anything that is not of a decent quality, not of a professional quality. What I do and did is professional broadcasting, and I want it to be of that quality. We're almost there. We've just got some T's to cross and I's to dot, but we're almost there. And the next 24, 48 hours, I hope that we can sign the contract off and it'll be ready for Sunday. But you're going to have to be here on Sunday at 8 p.m. to find out if we're able to. So I'll maybe go to some of your comments in just a little while, but there's a lot a lot to get into tonight. So I was only going to do 90 minutes, but yeah, you never know. So first question of the night. What's the in your life, in today's modern society? I am going to talk about the knife crime, because it seems to be that knife crime is a daily occurrence now. That firearms is a daily occurrence. But there must be something today in 2024 that absolutely gets your goat. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff like thieving crooks in the Pink Palace or the Biden crime family or anything to do with these clowns in Clown World. Not necessarily that, but there must be something that absolutely, and I want you to tell me in the comments, things that really piss you off. And I will sort of countenance that with, there's loads going on in the world where you just think, oh, here, Foxtrot Oscar, man, I've had enough. I mean, all the kind of road rage and people in like post offices and yabba, 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 and arguing and going, ooh, you want some, you want some. Look, I watched a video of, I think it's somewhere in South America, I think, possibly, where one of the cultural immigrants was trying to flog some stuff, and a guy walks past with his little girl in a stroller, and he's like, no, I'm all right, lad, I'm fine, I don't need to buy anything, don't want to buy anything. Andy, I'll tell this story and then I'll tell you what Andy Turner's just said. And so this cultural enhancer has gone over and kicked the stroller with his baby girl in, then pulls a knife out. So the boy is trained in the martial arts, takes a knife off him, stabs him to death. Now, there's two words when we talk about the Manchester video that's gone viral online earlier this evening. It's proportionate and appropriate. So that man obviously thinks that a guy's just pulled a knife on him. There's every chance that he's already assaulted his child. He doesn't know what he's going to do to his child. So he's taking him out swiftly, appropriately, and proportionately. Unfortunately, it was stabbing him to death because he didn't know what level of danger he was in or what level of danger his daughter was in. And she was only a bairn. She was only, 18 months, 2 years, if that. So the world is getting, I don't mean the extreme, but something that gets you goat. I think that's what it is. Andy Turner says, my missus snoring. Lots of people nodding their head at the telly, at YouTube. Amalia Grassi, putting native people last after everyone else. Fecked off with it. Yeah. We've got, like, Leeds is on fire. Ireland, the Irish. Don't mess with the Irish. I mean, some of my ninja buddies in Dublin, they're as hard as nails. But you brass them off, they'll have you. And I don't mean they'll grab me by the throat and give me a kicking. I mean, they're really straight up and down people. But once you brass them off, that's it. There's no reverse switch. The switch is gone. Here we go. Let's get it on. And Ireland's on fire. And the people, the indigenous population of Ireland, are turning around right to the politicians. Right, we've had enough. We've had enough. We're not doing this. Andrew James says, the mainstream media piss me off, and the Democratic National Convention about the lies they spew about Trump. Oof, good one, Andrew. Definitely a good one. In the field says, selfish society. Yeah, I agree. Napoleon blown apart, the way my kids treat their mother because we're older and see things differently. You see, that's why I've never had kids. I would have taken the side of their face off. And maybe this is just an old-fashioned thing, but I see manners maketh man, and I do see that nobody has respect. Because this generation, was it Gen Z or Gen A, whatever they are now, the kids, the kind of late teens, early 20s. Oh, and all I do is I bite my tongue. I bite my tongue and hold my breath because they think they're entitled. So, like Napoleon blown apart, having a go at his missus. I would have ended up in jail if I'd had kids. I mean, love them and frustrate them in equal measure. But society's broken down. The body of it, the whole body of it. We're here, critical fingers, having a lovely time in the body of the Kirk with a bit of Battenberg and a bit of altar wine, and just, spouting our spout, and me giving you the sermon on a Sunday and a Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We all know, because we're all getting to know each other over a period of time. I mean, at this rate, it's like 18 months or so. As Karina Jane says, bring back the 90s. Life was fun. Oh, the 90s was very, very lively for me. I loved it. Only what? The greed of businesses, lower prices, get more customers, simples. Whizbits, my missus does this thing that really annoys me. Every morning, she wakes up. Viv Kenyon. Me too, Adrian. Me too, Viv. Stuart, what really annoys me is kids screaming their heads off in a supermarket. Well, who in their right mind decides that, oh, we'll have a family outing, we'll take the kids to the supermarket? How does that work, you utter prat? How? Oh, that hurt. And taxation. Housing costs, rents and house prices are terrible compared to wages, I know. Oh, let's talk about fat fingers. The king. The public purse has given him a 53% pay rise. Oh, how does that work? The multi billionaire. He makes $1 billion a year. Oh, well, Willie does. Big Willie style does. On behalf of the royal family. And they're getting a 53% pay rise. Here, Foxtrot, Oscar, man. We're all scratting about because the utility bills are going through the roof. They want to impoverish us, take our houses off us, take our land off us. I haven't got any. The chair that's attached to my derriere, that's all I've got. And they're giving him 132 million. The weird shite, man. Gareth Henshaw, boots annoy me, no cash, and their terminals are always down. Add to that, their staff are walking gormless directions. Oh, Gareth, got to agree. Absolutely got to agree. I always, when we go out, if somebody's been really nice to us, the serving staff, I always make sure that is reciprocated by just leaving them a little tip, 10% or 15% or whatever. Because, they might be having a tough day. Their life might be a little more difficult than mine. So I quite like wandering around. A bit gormless, but I like wandering around just smiling at people. It's amazing how many people smile back. And just connecting with other human beings. Finding out, that's what this channel is going to be about, finding out your stories. And we'll do lots and lots and lots of subjects where some nights you might go, loved listening, wasn't going to call in. I mean, I would like you to, because no callers, no phoning. And just walking around and seeing, so there's a fabulous little cafe in between a Greasy Spoon and Posh. But you go in there and the food is always exceptional. But there's a young guy who lives in assisted accommodation. He comes in sometimes, and when he's finished his meal, he always needs to cross the road. Now, he can't really walk properly, so he needs helping across the road. I love, just, my good deed for the day, I just say to him, oh, wait, let me get you across the road. And he loves it. Oh, me name's so-and-so. I said, I know, you've told me that the last 20 times. And my name's so-and-so. Oh, right, I remember that. And every time I take him across the road, he forgets. But it's just those... Richard Austin, we're definitely going to talk about that soon. But remember when it all kicked off, when we were going to go into lockdown for 6 weeks, and there were loads of people around where I was. We'll do this for you. If you need to go to the shops, we'll go and do your shopping for you. And then nearly 2 years later, everybody was so fatigued by it all. We were... And then a couple of years down the line, we're still doing it because we can see it on social media every day. Des Ashton says, the malignant greed of society today is led from the top down. Oh, I agree. You bet your sweet Bippy, rich boy Sunak, 120 million in his year as Prime Minister. How on earth does that happen? Now, he keeps telling us, or kept telling us, and he can Foxtrot Oscar, he keeps telling us, oh, it's the missus, Infosys. No, that's me wife, it's her money, not mine. So how did he make 120 million? Thieving. Ugh. Yeah, gets my goat too. Andy Turner, and chief executive officers asking millions when companies go under like Carpetright. Yeah, they're all at it. It's all the greasy pool. It's all grubby. I mean, there's no pockets in shrouds. How on earth can you take your money with you? Or is it, what is it? The rich and wealthy plan for 3 generations. Everybody else plans for a Saturday night. But Des Ashton, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Don't make me laugh. I know, Des. I know. There's Bojo the Clown. Oh, yeah. But he was being guided by the scientists, one of which, Whitney, has joined the Anthony Charles Linton Blair Foundation. How does that work then? And how much money is he making? Can you smell that? Yeah. It's bullshit and corruption. I can definitely smell it. In the field, unbelievably, city life is a different level now. These people have no shame and zero care of how they make others feel. I've not been to my local city for 10 years now. Can you remember the idiot that was said he was doing it for shits and giggles? He was doing the, I don't know, TikTok or one of the socials, and he was and he ran into and this, I mean, it shivered me to the bone. He went into somebody's house, and the guy, so he ran in, and you could hear the missus scream and the kids scream, and this guy said, "Look, I've got children," because he didn't know what this guy was doing, and it was just it was that plea in his voice. Look, I've got children. And this idiot went to jail because he didn't adhere to, oh, well, I've had a rough upbringing. Look, mate, I can out misery you, you cheeky little fecker. So he went to jail, but it was just the guy in the house. I mean, it was a very posh house, very big house in London somewhere. And this guy just ran in. Guy didn't know what he was going to do. The guy didn't know whether he was tooled up. The guy didn't know what his intentions were. And all he said was, I've got kids. Fuck. Now, I know people tell me off for being a sweary Mary, having me Tourette's kick in. But honestly, yeah, in a situation like that, what do you do? Annie Watt says, YouTube pranksters who are disrespectful. Do you know, we used to do on the radio in South Wales, and it was a thing, and it was a thing called Who's Your Daddy? Who's your daddy now then? And I used to get people to streak naked up and down the street. Now that wasn't affecting anybody unless they were like, oh Jesus, there's somebody there with rather large run up and down shouting, who's your daddy now then? Now anybody that's heard the phone in South Wales, and maybe I'll stick it on from the Top Man tapes because it's on there, it was just a bit of daft, harmless fun. Angela Rayner being frozen out of the party. What a shame. Hayden, I agree. But you know why she's being frozen out, don't you? Because Starmer thinks she's going to take over. So he's already removed the whip from 7 Labour MPs. Oh, I've been telling you for 18 months. So Keir Starmer, is he scaring you yet? I hope so. Because he should do. Obviously, when Jimmy Savile's file went across his desk, went into file 13, straight in the bin. So what's the one thing that really, really brasses you off? In the field says, was the guy that Morgan had on his show giving him 15 minutes of fame? Piers Morgan. Oh, yeah. He's trying to justify himself. I saw the interview with Piers Morgan, trying to justify himself, but there was no justification. Running into somebody's house. And the guy didn't know whether he was tooled up, what he was going to do, what his intention was. And all he could think about was his kids. Starmer will be issuing the pegging tool next. Well, he just go to see the Royals once a week. Des Ashton, life in the buzzword society, much loved by the wokerati, is best described as the cognitive dissonance of dialectic clarity. Wonderful, Des. Beautifully put. Melvin P. Politics piss myself laughing governance. They're a bunch of actors. I agree. Now, I tried to start a thread off on X. And please, if you are, go over there and kind of follow me or subscribe or whatever it's called on X. I tried to start a conversation off around the Georgia Guidestones, because there's a really clever guy called James Fernetti who's into history and philosophy. He's got his own YouTube and X, and he's been talking about Göbekli Tepe. Now, Göbekli Tepe is in Turkey, and it's possibly the oldest civilization on Earth, apart from something far east. And, you know, they do say that Turkey is the Garden of Eden from the Bible. And I want to go and see it. But from James Fernetti's reporting, the World Economic Forum, via billionaires, have been buying up the land and putting sort of tourist visiting centre on top of Göbekli Tepe. And they're now saying, well, nobody can excavate at Göbekli Tepe for the next 150 years. We'll leave it for other generations. What? You'll leave it for other generations? You dim feckers. So they planted trees on top of it. So another 150 years, nobody will know what's there. Can you remember what was happening 150 years ago, the Victorian era? I don't think the Victorian era knew what they were doing because they were off the tits most of the time. I mean, they had stuff that's been banned now, drugs and alcohol, absinthe. Yeah, Annie, what? Weather scaring, I agree. Thunder, snow, weather bombs. I mean, I've watched, again, this is all on X and on my profile there, like my feed. I've posted about the Yellowstone geyser going off, and I've stood on Mount Etna in Sicily a few times. I mean, I've drunk a shed load of... Panic in Italy has more than 1,000 tourists forced to flee popular seaside town. It's fear porn. Everywhere is fear porn. We're being told from 1 second to the next, oh, be scared. Oh, be scared. And I'm like, about what, you tart? Whizbit says, my brother-in-law was laid off from his job as an NHS Charlie 19 Marshal today. Well, no, it's bird flu. Can you not reapply for the job as a bird flu marshal? I mean, what do you do with the geese? So, Holly Ruston, I saw one of your rants, Holly, on X. Brilliant. Adrian, great news today about my constant irritability. I'm fuckwit intolerant. Brilliant. Brilliant, Holly. But I think that... Oh, Karahan Tepe as well. Aren't they kind of... Thank you all. Control-Alt-Delete. Aren't they trying to get people to go and look at something else, not Göbekli Tepe? Now, I did look at going to Turkey this year. We're probably going to leave it until 2025 or 26. And we look at the logistics of getting to Göbekli Tepe, and it is miles away from anywhere. It's some trek. A bit like the Nazca Lines in Peru. When we were honeymooning in Peru, we wanted to get down to see the Nazca Lines. We wanted to hire a plane, go up and see the Nazca Lines. To get there was going to take us, to get there and experience it was going to take maybe 3, possibly 4 days out of our trip to be able to go and see the Nazca Lines. So we could have hit it on the head and did ayahuasca 4 times in 5 days instead. I've told you about that. And Göbekli Tepe, we thought, oh, we'll go to Turkey. Want to go and see all the usual bits and pieces, and want to do all the touristy stuff, you know, the Blue Mosque and Istanbul and all that. But then we looked at going out to Göbekli Tepe. Honestly, it's not necessarily cost prohibitive, but it's just the journey, or Chariots of the Gods. That's a great book. Eric von Daniken, great book, Control-Alt-Delete, which I've got in my, where is it? It's in my archive somewhere. And was it Chariots of the Gods and then Gold of the Gods? I think it's the second one. What's that? Police on the street in Washington in riot gear due to protests about Bibi's visit. Thank you, Kaz. I'll do Göbekli Tepe, then I'll talk about Washington. So Göbekli Tepe, we looked at, and it's just, we'd have to journey across the Turkish desert almost. You can fly in, but there's very few planes, and to get there is a real ball ache, a proper spherical ache. And we decided against it. And then when I saw that the World Economic Forum had bought it up via some multi-millionaire benefactor, so that nobody could start digging, nobody could excavate it, nobody could find what was written on those pillars from like 12, 15, 20,000 years ago. And now, as I say, I try to get a conversation going. It's over on X if you want to go and see it, at Adrian Allen. I try to get a conversation going about the Georgia Guidestones. And I think I may keep that as a separate video. But somebody who shall remain nameless, because I've no idea who it was, blew it up. Well, blew them up. And then they said, oh, they were unsafe. So we're going to have to demolish them. And somebody said, yeah, that's because the guidance on the stones were in 8 languages, I think it was. And thank you to Control-Alt-Delete who told me about this. The 8 languages had the answer, and it was to keep society down below 500 million. And how to do it, where to do it, and what to do, and all that. They flattened the Georgia Guidestones. And somebody said on X, that's because it goes against the WEF ideologies. So, you know, people, I mean, the Georgia Guidestones have not been around for that long, but Göbekli Tepe, tens and tens and tens, pre the Christ, pre the Buddha, pre everything that we know from history. And they've buried them, planted trees above them, so nobody can start excavating. Why would they want people not to excavate Göbekli Tepe? And they say that they've only excavated about 5%. Everything else is going to stay underground. What agenda is that, then? And here's a question for you. You know when Christopher Columbus discovered America? How comes the people he met spoke English to him? They think we're stupid, man. And there's Klaus in court for inappropriate behaviour. Times 6. They're all at it, man. They're all filthy, grubby, old people that need a foxtrot Oscar, in my humble view. That includes the Labour and the left. I mean, I'm not interested in how you voted at the general election, but there's the left who have... So the deal is that the monarchy, that's King Fatfingers, he does as he's told, and then the people that tell him to do as he's told give him money. Because as the monarch, that's your only job. Your only job is to keep the monarchy going. Big Willie style has got... let me just tackle this one. Chris MO65. Welcome to the Theatre of the Mind. Adrian, did you see the video at the weekend of Roker Beach? Non-Mackems partying. Oh, did I? But here's the thing. People of Sunderland and Newcastle or anywhere in the northeast are exactly the same as the Irish. Whether it's southern or northern, they're tough. They're really tough. They're tougher than those that had to get a dinghy across from France. They're tougher than anybody that comes to this country and takes a fucking liberty. So the Mackems are very generous. And the Geordies and the Irish, very generous to a fault. But you start taking the piss out of them, that would be your first mistake. Your second mistake was thinking you could get away with it. Because they don't muck about. I'm from there. They don't muck about. We've all had a tough upbringing. You and I, everybody. We've all had tough upbringings. We've tried to make something of our lives. And yet, these scum-sucking pond life on a beach that I grew up on, thinking they can party. My Tourette's are kicking in again. Mark my words. That continues. There'll be a carload of my family going down there. These people think they're hard. My hairy backside. I'm not suggesting I am, and I'm not suggesting I'm a violent man either. But when it all kicks off, you want people like people of the Northeast and Ireland to stand shoulder to shoulder with you, because they don't back down, ever. And this video that I saw, it was incredulous. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And this idiot in London, Mayor Carnage, every single day there's knife crime. Every single day in London somebody's getting stabbed. Every single day. And what's he bleating on about? Oh, diversity, equality and inclusion. Yeah, I've got a new bloke in the mayor's office who's going to look at it. Stop the fucking knife crime. And do you know something? It's not these Bowie knives. It's not these crossbows. It's not fancy dancy knives. It's kitchen knives you buy from Amazon and supermarkets, to make it easier. Oh, he's carrying a machete. My hairy backside. It's the modern equivalent of saying, that's 6 inches. They always exaggerate. Oh, yeah, I've got a machete down my trousers. Go off, mate. Hard men don't need knives, as was proven when this cultural enricher kicked a stroller with a little 18-month baby in it. The guys decided, I'm not sure whether I'm being threatened or my baby is being threatened, and I need to nullify this threat immediately. Professionally, efficiently, proportionately, gone. But maybe that's what the people in the shadows want us to do. They want us to be fighting amongst each other, whilst Bibi Netanyahu stands in Congress in America going, yeah, anybody that takes Israel on means that they're going to bomb America. And the minute that the Americans think, oh my Lord, they're going to bomb the shit out of America, their backsides start going 50p, sixpence, 50p, sixpence. And Bibi Netanyahu is standing there winding the Americans up going, they're going to bomb the fuck out of us. And you. Yeah, fuck about and find out. Thank you, Vixtex. And now Bibi Netanyahu's blaming it on Iran. And hang on a second. What's Iran done last? Well, they sent some stuff across via drone just to test out the Iron Dome. And then there was a bit of rapprochement amongst the political classes. And there was a little, hang on, lads. Maybe we're going a bit too far. Maybe we're going a bit too fast. And we'll talk about this because honestly, there's very few things that absolutely get my goat. But Bibi Netanyahu, if you're a regular to this channel, you will know that I think he is the most evil man on planet Earth. Bar none. And not because of his religion, and not because of his race, because of his character. It's evil. It's black as the Ace of Spades. Now, Netanyahu, it's his 4th address to the American Congress. There's a few empty seats in there. I mean, Kamala Harris, you see it written all over her face. So he's addressing the American Congress. Why is he there? I mean, America's given him $110 billion only 4 months ago. So what does he want to be in there for? Alan Little says, Alan, first timers, just popping your cherry. My granddad was at work at Pallion Forge in Sunderland during World War II when one of Adolf's bombs fell onto it. He dragged himself home and my grandmother ran a bath for him to clean himself up. That's how hard they are in Sunderland. Even Hitler bombs them and they just go, oh no, I better get myself home. Better make sure the missus is all right. You've just been bombed. You crawl home and say to the missus, well, you couldn't run as a bath, could you? That's how hard people in Sunderland are. They are literally. That's a great story, Alan. Hayden, Labour want to give Ukraine It's not 84 billion, it's 3 billion a year whilst Keir Starmer's in office. 3 billion a year, 15 billion if you wish, but I will touch on that in just a moment. So Bibi Netanyahu keeps getting standing ovations. Well, obviously they're going to be giving him standing ovations. He's just been given $110 billion by the American taxpayer. For what? Levelling Tel Aviv and making it a nice tourist attraction. No, all the American politicians are in Bibi Netanyahu's back pocket. He'll pay them off. So the more money, the more taxpayer money, because you know that that's what politics is now. He's not doing it for the benefit of the communities. It's for the benefit of how much money they can stuff in their back pockets before they leave office. So all these Americans who were clapping like entertainment seals, circus seals, they're being bought off. So you see it on the telly and you go, oh, they're obviously very enthusiastic about that. Would you say Blair and Schwab run Nettie close? Yeah. I mean, I think that Klaus Schwab is actually a stooge. He only does what he can get away with by the actual power, which you never see. So he'll go, oh, the fourth industrial revolution. Klaus, mate, you're not going to be alive long enough. And in the end, death will get all of us. There's no getting out of here alive. And he's not far away. He's a doddery old boy now. But Blair, I think the Tories had him pegged. Pun intended. They had him pegged because, remember the advert with the devil eyes? That's Blair completely. I mean, okay, if you don't believe me, just Google Charles Linton. They're the two middle names of Anthony Charles Linton Blair. Google, because it's still there, I'm not quite sure how, Charles Linton and Bow Street. Andrew James at Hayden. Who funds Russia? Russia. Because Russia is energy independent. So they've got shitloads of oil coming out of the Caspian Sea, because within a week, I think, maybe 10 days of 9/11, Putin was at Bush's ranch negotiating the oil pipeline out of the Caspian Sea down through Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, the warm water port in Pakistan to get it around the world. So that's why Russia went into Afghanistan in the 80s. They were trying to get in there to get the oil out of the Caspian Sea. Why do you think Ukraine is having a bit of a difficulty with Russia at the moment? Because they want the oil and the gas out of the Black Sea. That's why they went into Crimea. That's why they invaded Crimea. Russia's got Crimea. That's the easiest way to access the oil and the gas in the Black Sea. And if you want to keep going, Russia is getting oil and gas from everywhere for energy independence. Now, America doesn't have energy independence, which is why they have to negotiate with the Saudis and the Russians, sometimes the China for minerals. So Russia are liquid gold and gas independent because they own shed loads of it. I mean, trillions and trillions and trillions of barrels of oil. And I've said to you on this channel, you've got all these other people that are just doing like geopolitics light. So they'll go Biden and Trump and Biden and Trump and Kamala Harris. Whilst I'm telling you, the reason why Bibi Netanyahu is in Congress today, because he's after the money. What's he after the money for? Well, somebody somewhere is going to make hundreds of billions of dollars because of the gas and oil under the Gaza Strip and in the East Mediterranean. I've already told you this. And they want to build Anyway, it'll come to me. They're wanting to build the waterway from... So let me give you this. And this is not necessarily joining the dots, because I know you've already got this. Ben Gurion Canal. Thank you, Tocker69. So the Ben Gurion Canal is going to replace any other canal around that area. Why? Because the Ben Gurion Canal is going to be cut through rock. The Suez Canal is built on shifting sands. So that could all go poof eventually. But the Ben Gurion Canal is being cut from the Red Sea up through the Negev desert, across Israel, through central Gaza. Oh, now you're clicking onto it. Through central Gaza into the East Mediterranean Sea. And there were the Americans spent $300 million to build an aid port, if you will, to get the aid into Gaza for the Gazans. And there's Bibi Netanyahu saying, oh, yeah, well, we're putting the aid into Gaza for the Gazans, and, well, it's 3,000 calories a day for them. Well, according to the people that are demonstrating in Washington, they've been leaving a whole load of maggots in his dining room and in the hotel that he was staying in. They were setting off sirens and fire alarms during the night in the hotel where he was staying. They had to move him. So there are people that are not very happy with him. That includes the Israelis. And the only reason why he can't be removed as Prime Minister, His Excellency, what the actual feck? His Excellency. Oh, he's building his part there. What's he got? Diamond-encrusted crown shoved up his arse or something. His Excellency. He's the fucking Prime Minister of Israel. Just Prime Minister. And you know why he can't be removed from office? Because he's a war Prime Minister. So while it's kicking off, Bibi Netanyahu can't be removed. And the Israeli people are patient people. They're just waiting. The people of Israel are just waiting for that man to be removed. Because they were already after him before it kicked off on October the 7th. He's abjectly evil. And some of the things that he said, because I was, just before I came on air, he was talking about it. Gareth Henshaw said, I remember watching a video about Ben Gurion at school. Edward Enfield presented it, Harry's dad. Oh, very nice. Well, Ben Gurion was actually a freedom fighter, an Israeli freedom fighter. That's why he's so revered in Israel. He was an Israeli freedom fighter. He didn't mess about with that boy. And he was a leader of men. He was charismatic, and he was actually there at the beginning and setting up of Israel. And Bibi Netanyahu, oh, I bet he wishes he was Ben Gurion by a country mile. So that's why they've named the airport after him. I've been to a Ben Gurion airport many times. I've been to Israel, which is a breathtakingly beautiful country. I mean, breathtaking. It's got the seat of, if you believe the Bible, it's got the seat of man there. Jesus, the Nazarene, walked the streets. And I've walked La Via Rossa in Jerusalem. I've walked around the outside of the walls. I've almost walked every single square inch of Jerusalem. It's breathtaking. Spine-tingly breathtaking. And Bibi Netanyahu just wants Israel to go to war so he can be Prime Minister. How evil is that? Blair's close. Klaus Schwab, he's just a cartoon character. Because the Austrian accent. And I will boil this all down to say the reason why Bibi Netanyahu, I believe to be evil, in my view, is because he's doing everything for his own gain. Not his people's. That's the difference between him and Ben Gurion. Ben Gurion was doing it for the nation, the state of Israel, and the people of Israel. Bibi Netanyahu, personal gain. Stuart says, doesn't get any more evil than that. Des Ashton, you won't need solar panels or windmills when the Tesla energy systems come online. Well, you know that Elon Musk was there watching this speech to Congress. I have theories as to why, but I just want to stay with Bibi Netanyahu for the moment. The Israelis want him gone. Now, he's blaming Iran. It's almost like the schoolyard bully who goes to the bigger lad. Oh, he did it. No, it's them, him, not me. I was just defending myself. And the big lad's going to Iran, going, here, what are you up to? You can hide away and shite. What are you up to? Oh, you got a new president. Well, that's fine. Ayatollah Khomeini. I'm old enough to remember that boy. And all the reportage and all the kicking off. But Bibi's going, not me, not me. It's Iran. Now, if you've watched this channel long enough, you will know that the deep state in America, that's why they want rid of Trump, they want a forever war, because war is hugely profitable. America's a busted flush. It's bankrupt. 76% of taxpayers' money is going to pay off the interest on the money that's been squandered by the politicians that have been in power the last 50 years. That's why they need war. America's bankrupt. So I was listening to Bibi Netanyahu, and it was almost like a version of a Friends script. You know the TV series? Now, Friends, every single line is a gag. Every single line. And they only deliver it in almost monosyllabic lines. Now, if you look at Bibi Netanyahu, when he started, it was like, line, round of applause. Line, round of applause. Line, round of applause. And I thought, how long is he going to take? A 3-minute speech is going to take like 3 days at this rate. Alan says $34 trillion national debt. I know. They're not going to be, they can print more money, but they're not going to be able to trade their way out of it unless they get a forever war. And America never, ever, ever wants to have a war on its own soil. It's happy in Europe. It's happy in the Middle East. Anywhere. Australasia, anywhere. Russia, anywhere. Ukraine, anywhere except America. Kaz987 says he had them going like the clappers. I know he did. So, as I say, his speech was like a version of a Friends script where he was just line, round of applause, line, round of applause. But he started going on about Iran's behind everything. Gaza, Iran, Houthis, Iran. And I was like, hang on, the bloody Houthis, they're not in Iran. Hezbollah, Iran. And I thought, he's saber rattling here. He's wanting it to kick off. Now, I have told you for the last year that that 2024 was 2023 on steroids. Remember me saying that at the beginning of the year? I also said to you that there's going to be a black swan event. Now, the shooting of Donald Trump is close to being the black swan event, because if they'd killed him, oi, 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 there would have been civil war on the streets of America. And the director of the Secret Service has had to resign. Notice how it's the director of Secret Service and not the FBI and not the CIA. She got an absolute arse whipping. Was it yesterday? What day is it? Yeah, Monday and Tuesday. So she's resigned because one of the Congress women, a Republican, I think, said, you've perjured yourself. Perjury. Jail sentence. Doesn't matter who you are in America. You perjure yourself in a court of law, jail sentence coming. So she's literally left that court and resigned. But it wasn't her. She was protecting someone. Now, who would that someone be? Obama? Big Mike? Hillary? Who is it? Thank you, Amalia. Yeah, hit the likes, you wrongers. Let's get it over 100. So I kind of get that Bibi Netanyahu is there to saber rattle and to get more backing from America. I mean, how much does he need? $110 billion when America's trillions in debt. Now, the Donald would have said, here, Bibi, mate, yeah, I'm going to give you 110. Yeah, no problem. Just sign here, because it's a fucking loan. You're not getting it free gratis. You're going to have to give us it back. But the oil and gas that's coming out of the East Mediterranean and under the Gaza Strip, and the Ben Gurion Canal is going to go through the centre of the Gaza Strip, so that and this is about military manoeuvres, because you have to kind of book it in with the Egyptian government. So the Egyptian government know what you're taking through the Suez Canal. But the Israelis are not going to tell anybody. If America goes, here, Bibi, mate, can we get some jets and some aircraft carriers? Can we put them through the Ben Gurion Canal, mate, during the middle of the night so nobody finds out? So nobody knows where the American military will be. So as a military strategist, it makes perfect sense if the Ben Gurion Canal is built. And the same for some of Israel's other allies. But these people play ahead of the game. They're doing stuff now that might come to fruition in 2, 3, 5, 10 years' time. They're playing ahead of the game because at the moment they can corruptly take money out of the deal. Talking of which, if you want to bring her back home, and I'm going to get to Just Stop Oil in a moment. Bibi Stockholm. Have you seen the ineptitude that's gone on in the Pink Palace with these cretins that are saying, I want to be the next leader of the Tory party? Oh, here, Foxtrot Oscar. James Not So Cleverly. What a thick old tart that man is. So they've been in power for 14 years and all of a sudden they think that the whole country's going to have amnesia and forget about it. So James Not So Cleverly's out going, oh yeah, I want to be the new leader. Fuck off. We've seen right through you prat. So, the Bibi Stockholm. Labour are closing it. Well, obviously they were going to. So I've said to you on many an occasion on this channel, on these lives, which is why these lives are not monetised. Because this is where we get the gold out. Paul Moreton, I think you've been here before, Paul, but just in case. Using public charging points, almost as expensive per mile as running a petrol car, over 10,000 miles now. And last time we drove up to Birmingham, saw queues of cars waiting to charge up. Madness. Look, Paul, wait till you've got to insure them. And then the insurance companies are like, how much is it to replace an electric vehicle battery? Whoa, right, you're going to have to pay $5,000 in insurance. Alone. To start with. Control-Alt-Delete said the roof shooter shot through a red dot sign, not iron sight. He shot an AK-15 style rifle that was 20 years old, belonged to his dad. Have you noticed? We're kind of going about, I will go back to the Bibi Stockholm in a minute because I'm going to give you some facts. Have you noticed how people are saying, Donald's ears healed? Are these people cretins? I mean, I know they're American. I know they're as thick as pig shit. But are these people for real? So you've got the left going, Kamala, all over her face. Kamala, you're going to be president, man. Yeah, no, we'll assassinate Donald. Yeah. And I wish him a long life before you start. Because the only saviour of America is not the Democrats. It's not Cumface. And it's not the idiot, the crime family. It's neither of them. Now, obviously, he has his faults. But America, bankrupt, it's only an exceptional businessman that's going to turn that around. But the people that run the money in America don't want him in. That's the deep state. It's the deep state and the banks. So they want the forever war. Donald doesn't. He wants peace. And the banks just want to print money. So Karina Jane says, electric car where they don't want you to go, the car won't take you. I know. So they'll just put a block on it. That's why they're able to say you have a Tesla. And you can allow your Tesla, if it's fully charging at your door, somebody can use it as a taxi. It'll just pitch up, pick somebody up, take them somewhere. That's how much control they're going to have over your cars. Let's get back to the Bibi Stockholm. Do you know that it's the equivalent of 400 houses that the Labour Party, the Labour government, so Keir Starmer scaring you yet? That they're going to need to find. That's another 400 houses that struggling English won't have access to. I mean, my forefathers and mothers, I've been around in England and a bit of the Scottish borders for over 1,000 years. I can trace my lineage back through my mother's side to Rollo and the Vikings and northern France and southern England. We've traced it back to the 700s and Rollo. Do your own research. So there's no more English than me. And Adrian Allen's my real name. That's my family name. And we were horse thieves and sheep shaggers in the borders on my dad's side, back into about the Templar era of 1000 AD. Leah says, how do you know a politician is lying? You just know. Their lips don't have to move. EVs are like driving in a microwave, says Karina J. And Alan says, no one drives my 76,000 quid Tesla but me, if I had one. Well, you can order one. That's what Ubers will turn into, everybody else's cars. So the Bibby Stockholm. So they're going to scrap it. 400 houses, if you wish, gone. So those cultural enrichers are going to need a house. So are the government going to take those houses away from the indigenous population of England? And you are aware that it's England, then it's Great Britain, England, Scotland and Wales, and then it's the United Kingdom when you include Northern Ireland. So I'm just going to say, because I have lived and loved being in both Wales and Scotland. I've lived there. 10 years in Scotland, 3 years in South Wales. But I've never been to Northern Ireland, simply because of the Troubles. So I've said before, one of my answers has been, they come across in a dinghy, grab them, take them from the Kent coast, take them into King's Cross, put them on a train, tell them there's a house waiting for them in Edinburgh. Tell them there's free money. Tell them there's free food. It's going to only take them about 4 hours on the train. So, here, mate, there you go. There's a free phone. There's some free food. Don't get off the train, because if you do, we'll shoot you. But get to Scotland, because little Jimmy Cranky was all for, yeah, we should be bringing them in. We should be allowing them in. Right, fuck off. They're coming to your house, and they're coming up to Scotland. Let's have the million that have come across from France. They'll all go and live in Edinburgh. Now, I love Edinburgh with all my heart. But we've got to teach these political arseholes a lesson, mind you. General election did that for the SNP in Scotland. But when you've got idiots like that saying, oh, we've got to let them in. Foxtrot Oscar, man. So, these economic migrants that can't speak English, they can speak English, send them to Scotland. That's going to freak them the feck out. In fact, send them to Glasgow. Have you tried speaking to somebody from the Wage? I mean, it took me years to understand them. Years. And I've got fairly good ears. And even now, I've got to tune my ears in. I've got to talk to them for a couple of minutes before I can, because they don't half talk really quick. So how much money's been wasted? Hundreds of millions. Hundreds, if not billions. So they get it, build it, then it's found to be defaulty, so you can't put anybody on there. And then they get the general election and the Labour Party come in and go, hey, right here, we're going to scrap it. So it's not, remember, this is not the government's money. It's yours. They are spunking your money up the wall for vanity projects so they can say, oh, we've sent them to Rwanda. No, you haven't. Billions spent for the Rwanda scheme. Who made that then? Oh, let me think, because I'm the stupid one. Rich boy Sunak. Cockeyed jockey. No, I'll rephrase that, because he's a politician. It was his missus. So, who has an office in Rwanda? Oh, let me think. That'll be Infosys. Oh, and who's Infosys connected to? That'll be Rishi Sunak's wife. And who's Rishi Sunak's wife connected to? The fucking Prime Minister. Do you see how it works now? You knock your pipe out day in, day out. You're trying to put food on the table for your kids or your grandkids or even the missus. You're trying to have a nice life. You're trying to go places and enrich yourself culturally by travelling. And they're bending you over your dining table saying, how deep do you want me to go? And then they smile at the camera when you catch them out. Oh, no, it's my wife. In my house, that's called corruption. The Bibi Stockholm is no more. Bibi Netanyahu, not related, obviously. He's getting them to spunk all over the Americans to spunk all over the walls. How much do you want, Bibi? Twats. Oh, the reason why I started the beginning is, and I'm only going to do 2 hours tonight. The reason why I used the Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Can I ask you a question? Where did you get the egg from? Who told you that Humpty Dumpty was an egg? I'll wait for you. Humpty Dumpty an egg. My hairy backside. We've been had. We've been traumatised since kids because somebody told us that Humpty Dumpty was an egg. It never mentions Humpty Dumpty as an egg. No, I know it was a cannon. But Big Ted and Little Ted told you. Did they hang the washing out on children's BBC? Because obviously they would need pegs for that, wouldn't they? I mean, look, I'm only mentioning this because I was traumatised by that. Rich says Humpty Dumpty was a cannon. Yeah, that's historically. But who told us? Should we get into this this Secret Service director? I was going to talk about Ireland on fire, but with this, I want to talk about the Joe Biden impeachment hearing. It's coming in a second. Now, you know when I've been saying that the Biden family was a crime family? Stay with me. I'm going to make your hair curl. So the Secret Service director resigns. I mean, that's tied everything up into a nice little bow. So who was behind the Donald J. Trump assassination attempt? Now, the World Economic Forum's Yuval Noah Harari. You know him? I've got one of his books somewhere. And I'm quoting directly, if Trump becomes president again in 2024, it will be the final death blow to the global order. So can you see how important it was to try and kill him off? Look at JFK. He's revered as one of the best presidents in the history of the United States. In fact, he's one of the best politicians, according to some, in world politics ever. Churchill, Lincoln, JFK, all said in the same breath with reverence. And this is what it means to the global order, to the one world order, the new world order. It means that if Trump gets in 2024, he's going to stay until 2029, unless he's taken out on his shield, a bit like Ronald Reagan. He was shot twice. No, well, he was shot once, but with a couple of bullets. So, did you hear President Biden, or the head of the crime family, the Biden crime family, who masquerades as some kind of, do you notice what I did there? Masquerade, mask. Yeah, Uncle Ronnie, no one messed with him. I bet they didn't. Amalia's back, everybody, just in case you wondered. So President Biden, he said in one of his speeches, now we know that he needed a bit of Colombian on his cornflakes to get him going in the morning, and then they would have to bring him down and get him to sleep and get him back up again. And look, they've used about half a dozen different actors. And if you want a clue, go and look at the video that I uploaded yesterday asking, is President Biden dead? Because if you look at the picture, the montage of the picture that I put up as the thumbnail, you'll see that there's at least 6 different versions of Joe Sniffy Biden. I like to call him Pedo Biden. Remember what his daughter said? She tried to avoid having showers with him. I wonder why that is then. So President Biden, and I'm quoting directly, get Trump in the crosshairs. What were they feeding before he said that? Now, America knows that the world is waking up. You and I and everybody else. It's happening all over the world. And it happened because of 2020. It happened because of Charlie 19. And the excess of deaths that's going on at the moment. People dying in their 40s and their 50s when realistically, modern society, you should be getting into your 80s and 90s, considering how good our health is supposed to be, our diet is supposed to be, our intake. But no. We know because, I'll get to that in a moment, Vix text, the AI recorded phone call. Yeah. Princess Catherine of Wales, AI. And Biden, the phone call, AI. And even when he was, he gave some kind of speech today. And he looked at the camera. And for the whole of the speech, I can't even do it because I'm desperate to blink. He didn't blink. It was AI. We know that AI is so clever now, and there's Zuckerberg and whatever Meta's new version of AI is, 3.5.4.1.100 and odd to 3 decimal points is. We don't care. We've seen through them. Not one politician wants to discuss what they already know and why. Jibber jabber. Apart from Andrew Bridgen. Contacted Andrew again. He did agree to come on the show, so I'm going to try and hopefully, fingers crossed, he comes onto the show for the 100th live, because he's doing some sterling work, some fantastic work. And if it wasn't for Mavericks, who, you know, when the political classes are trying to do somebody down, they're not very happy when you start telling truths. Holly Rushton, no jabs here, 100% clean blood. Me too, Holly. As I say, we don't judge on this channel, because at the time, everybody was trying to do the right thing. Everybody was trying to follow the science. Everybody was looking to our leaders to give us a steer as to what was right and what we should do. And we were trying to do the right thing by everybody. I just went down research, because that's what I do. I researched everything and I worked on my gut biome. Vitamin D, zinc, all kinds of bits and pieces. I took that and I did get COVID. But fabulously managed to survive it, although this cough is still going 4 years later. Whizbit says, total number of excess deaths due to all causes registered in England and Wales between March 2020, start of the lockdown, and December 2022 was 167,356. Of these, 103,585 were males, a 13.9% increase, and 63,770 were female. MZK Andrew Bridgen is excellent. Looking forward to it. And I will make a prediction, and I wish Donald Trump a long life. I think he's got the hand of God with him. That's not Maradona before you start. He's got the hand of God with him because, and seemingly, I don't know whether this is true because I haven't been able to corroborate it before I come on air, but head of the Biden crime family rang Donald afterwards and said, how did you know to turn your head in that split second? And Donald didn't. But the shooter wasn't supposed to miss. Wow, top of 69. You know they changed the way excess deaths are recorded, rather. Tablock Tracy, you tart. I've not been jabbed, but I've had a prick or 12. Yeah, we know. You tell us every week. But the shooter was given free rein, was able to scope it out with a rangefinder. He was able to get into the building where seemingly the Secret Service was supposed to be, and then get onto the roof and loose off 8 shots. Well, there is a recording that they've done to prove that 9 shots were loosed off. They can attribute 3 shots to the shooter. Who was the man on the water tower? Who was the shooter on the water tower? Yeah, I agree, Peter. During lockdown, it was a tough time for everyone. Some people couldn't handle it. The kids are now suffering with their mental health, being locked down, not being with their mates, not being, the little ones, the under 10s. They're little social beings. They couldn't be. Body cam footage now released looks AI. Interesting. Seen that video as well. Andrew James, we need Trump, and Trump will no doubt cause panic to Keir Starmer. Tidy whites. Rishi will be happy he won't have to meet Trump. Well, Trump's a good 6 foot odd. Barron, his son, he's about 8 foot tall. Can you imagine meeting him at Rich Boy and Barron Trump meeting? Jesus, he'd be biting his ankles. Jackie says, I had no notification, just joined shift over the back. See, Jackie, there's to everyone that's here, and there's over 150 people. I don't believe that. I think that they've got the measure of this channel, and I don't think you get the alerts. I think some people lose their subscriptions and don't even know, and that's why you need to keep checking that you're subbed to the channel, because these lives are where the gold's at. Can you imagine other people talking about this? They daren't. I told you in was it November last year about a Black Swan event? Now, the assassination of Donald Trump would have been a Black Swan event, but I think the Black Swan event is coming. They've got to stop him at all costs. They've tried every which way. They tried to financially ruin him, but he had more than $500 million cash liquidity to stop all that. Here's Truth Social. When they tried to do him with the finances, suddenly he had Truth Social and made $1 billion from that. So he's he's been military trained, Donald. He's not a fool. Jackie Glasgow's just said, I've just had to check and I had to resubscribe. Thank you, Jackie. While I've been saying that, it's gone from 150 odd viewers to 138. They don't like it. They don't. That's why, if you are on X, you need to sub me on X, because I can get more truths there. I have to do a bit of a dance here, but I can just be real straight up and down and show you stuff on X. So as I say, another day, another London stabbing, this time a 15-year-old boy in broad daylight. Let's get to Joe Biden, and I think I'll make this sort of my last subject. I was going to talk about just stop oil. Hang on. Amanda having to make bombshell claim over Giovanni Pernice footage. Oh, Jesus. By the way, the BBC shagged. Technical term that we use in radio. I subbed on X, but not sure how to use it. Just go to my profile. If you go to my profile and look at all my posts, they're all linear, and you can just read through them. There's some people that are here that, and I can have direct conversations with you on X. So if you sub on X, I will follow you back, and if you want any kind of direct contact, that will happen because you can write to me. Alan, I subbed on X, but not sure how to use it. That's how you do it, Alan. You can just go onto my profile. I mean, as I say, yesterday must have been about 20 posts, all with video and all bits and pieces, all truths that we can't get out necessarily elsewhere. So let's get to the Biden crime family. There's been an impeachment hearing today. Not that you would have known. I mean, they're as crooked can be, this family. And on Monday, Hunter Biden dropped his case against, was it Fox News? Rich says, Adrian, the content on X is really good. Thank you, Rich. Des Ashton says, I'm following on X and reading, but not back followed yet. I'll sort that, Des, tomorrow. I've been a busy boy. I've had my gob open for most of the day, having my innards extracted for hundreds of pounds that I've had to pay for the misfortune. But let's talk about Hunter Biden. So it was mentioned in this impeachment hearing today, they talked about Hunter Biden, and I quote, and his corrupt business associates. Oh, right. Well, you know, we can't always pick really good friends, but they're doing anything to cover up the truth. So they're making him out to have Alzheimer's or whatever it is. Night, Amalia, you slacker. I'm going to love and leave now. Big night all. Thanks, Adrian. Brill again. Smooth talker. I was only going to be another 10 minutes or so. And they said, and I am directly quoting here, the Chinese Communist Party infiltrated the White House through the Biden family. I've been telling you for 2 years, almost, that Joe Biden was a Manchurian candidate. Manchurian candidate, simply put, is a politician or president that works on behalf of a foreign entity, a foreign power. So Joe Biden and Hunter, now Joe obviously didn't touch anything. It all went through Hunter. So he's got deniability. We're back to Rich Boy again and his wife. So Joe could say, well, I didn't know what he was talking about. Mr. 10%. 10% for the big man is the direct quote. But today they said this at the impeachment hearing. Chinese Communist Party infiltrated the White House through the Biden family. Oh, never mind America eating itself because Bibi Netanyahu's in Congress. They're trying to hide this impeachment. The Joe Biden impeachment. He'd be dead before they get him anywhere near court. Is he already? As someone mentioned earlier. Oh, yes. Sorry, Stuart. That's a very good explanation. Adrian, do you know people who still don't know what X is? Twitter. Everybody calls it X, formerly Twitter. So if you've got a Twitter, come over to X, formerly Twitter. So this Manchurian candidate called Sniffy Joe Biden that abused his daughter, paedophile Biden, it's legitimate. It's in her book. Hated taking showers with her dad. What the actual? Holly Ruston, you're mutually following Adrian. Useful gen out there when you know where to look. I agree with you, Holly. The Naga Manchetti candidate. That's very good, Jackie. And in this impeachment hearing for President Joe Biden, the FBI, and I quote directly, they're not doing their job. Oh, you bet your sweet Bippy hasn't. Trump said he's going to get rid of all the three-letter agencies when he gets back into the presidency. Now, they're saying that, obviously, he's printed hats and merch with 45 and 47 on it. I do believe that he will be 45 and 48, and Kamala Harris, Cumface, she'll be 47. Because I think head of the crime family is going to be over and done with, and they'll just install her as president. Give her a better run. Jackie Glasgow says, I'm not very keen on her. She's very spiky. If she's up off her knees. And I was looking at Bibi Netanyahu at Congress, and I was thinking, are these American politicians getting brave? Because they know they're going to have a courageous leader, as in Donald Trump. Because what's the old saying? An army of sheep led by a lion will infinitely defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. And the Donald is some boy, as I say, military educated, the highest standard in the world. I'm not sure he went to Sandhurst, but he's a very, very, he's bordering on genius. And I'm not blowing smoke up his backside, but America need him. America need to turn around the debt because it's bankrupt. They need to stop the wars around the country. And I'm not kind of starting to hug trees and say kumbaya. I'm just saying to you that I would rather not be nuked by a foreign power because America doesn't want to have any kind of theatre of war on its own soil. But Russia's already said, Putin, he's laughing his cap off at all the politicians. He's already said, oh, don't worry, if you piss me off enough, I'll nuke London. Trump is going to wake the sleeping giant, I think. Control, Alt, Delete. I hope he does. Because the evil that's currently in the White House, and I'm going to say it again, the Chinese Communist Party infiltrated the White House through the Biden family. And they will continue to do so if Cumface gets into power as president. It was a Mr. Bobolinski. Now, I thought of... what was it? Del the Funky Homo Sapien. Now, this is going to be pretty left field if you're not into rap or kind of black music. But Del the Funky Homo Sapien, he did a song called Mr. Doubleina, Mr. Bob Doubleina. Mr. Doubleina, Mr. Bob Doubleina. And I was thinking, is that who that is? No, it's Mr. Bobolinski. But I was thinking, it's Bob Doubleina. Is that real life imitating art? It's Mr. Bob Doubleina. Mr. Bob Dobolina. No, Mr. Bobolinsky. It's close, not far away. And he turns round. It's like brass, as you like. And he goes, no, it didn't. No, don't recall that. No. So he's protecting the Biden crime family. And then another witness has been indicted as a Chinese spy. Now, remember, they don't talk about it in Westminster, but they had Chinese spies in the Houses of Parliament. Can you not remember that? About a year ago. They found a couple of Chinese spies. As Rich says, Trump is a businessman. He doesn't do shady politics. He just wants the best deal for the US. Correct. Why haven't we got... That's why Winston Churchill was so revered by the populace of this sceptred isle. Because he wanted what was best for Great Britain. I agree with you, Rich. Starmer wouldn't nuke back, though. He'd be flip-flop and he'd be going, right, should we do this by committee? Right, Putin has just nuked London. So most of the politicians are dead. Obviously, they'd be given like 3 or 4 hours warning. They'd, like rats from a sinking ship, they'd be out of London up into Scotland. They did that with lockdown. And Charlie 19, remember that politician that legged it from London up to Glasgow when she was suffering from Charlie 19? They should have bloody jailed her and thrown away the key. So they've got a Chinese spy. One of them's been indicted. They'll be gone. As in, they'll be leaving America, going back over to China. I mean, I went to Vancouver and it was like, literally you didn't see any Canadians. It was all Chinese. If you go down to London, which I have done on the odd occasion, I'm jesting, of course, there's tons of Chinese there. What? Where'd they come from then? I mean, look at this ugly fizzog. Face for radio, it's bloody English, it's white and it's ginger. So there's a bit of Celt in me. We're not going down the pagan route again, of course, but there's a bit of Celt in me somewhere. I think it was me granddad. Sounds like Durham. In the field. Are they all in Durham as well? No, I'm not being... It's not racist. What is it? It's... I'm getting tired now. It's the fear of foreigners rather than racism. Liam Newton. You're wrong. Liam Norton, you're wrong. It was nothing to look at. Anyway, so seemingly, somewhere in the Biden family, they took 2 million xenophobia. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Rich. See you on the 100th, Adrian. Do hope so. Thank you very much. So some of the witnesses include a Chinese spy from the Biden crime family. And they're looking at high crimes and misdemeanors. The boy's not going to last. If he's not already dead, he's not going to last. They're just going to have to wheel out another actor. They're not going to jail him. And Fox News is not carrying this. This is one of the biggest news stories of the day, of the week, of the year. The current president being impeached. Now look at what they did to Donald Trump. They tried to bankrupt him, then they tried to impeach him, then they tried all kinds of shenanigans and nothing stuck because it was not true. But the thing with this Democratic president is it's all true. All of it. I've told you before, there were phone calls made from Beijing into the Biden family home. How does that work then? And now we've got the impeachment trial saying, oh yeah, the Chinese Communist Party infiltrated the White House. And not only that, seemingly there's $58 million worth of tax evasion going on that they're after him for. But this is when he was vice president to Obama. So how did Obama become very rich? Him and Big Mike. But is it Barry Soeto? Soeto? And this Mr. Bob Dobolina sat there going, look, lads, I'm just going to tell you, the impeachment is over. It's done. It's finished. It is no more. This parrot is dead. There's no evidence to impeach. Really? So the Biden impeachment time of death, of course, according to Mr. Bob Dobalina, was 5:16. And I was looking at the timing thinking, hang on, it's 6 minutes past 7. How does that correlate to 5:16? But come face, let me just tell you something. Kamala Harris, changing the clown doesn't change the circus. And social media is on fire. I've got a shit ton of memes that are funny as. This will be the future war. The BBC Quentin Somerville joins Ukrainians on the front line. This will be the future war. Thank you, Stephen. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your kindness. You'll be the legendary Battenbergers at the beginning of the 100th live. So how exactly does that work? American politics is eating itself. The country is in massive debt that it can't necessarily trade its way out, unless they start just printing money, of course. But what they need is a war, Ukrainian war. Putin's laughing his cap off, man. He's got so much money, he doesn't need any more gas and oil. But let's very quickly talk about this Cressida, the dick, that's just stop oil. So I want to talk about that and Just Stop Oil. Are you aware that 9 Just Stop Oil activists were arrested at Heathrow Airport just before I started this live? They were arrested because they were conspiring to disrupt airport operations under the Public Order Act. Are these people stupid? So the leader of Just Stop Oil. I'll go through it logically. So Cressida got 4 years for protesting for Just Stop Oil. And the mum's come out and said, oh, she's going to miss her brother's wedding. Hang on, are we lagging? I'll say that again. So Cressida got 4 years for protesting for Just Stop Oil. And the mum's come out and said, oh, she's going to miss her brother's wedding. Oh, well. Oh, well. There's a thing in this country, it's called the rule of law. If you break the law, there's punishment. And the punishment could be a jail sentence. Oh, well, this bright spark, 4 years. She caused 120 hours worth of disruption to 700,000 motorists on the M25. And what do these schmucks think conducting illegal activity is going to end in? Yeah, Dr. 69, beautiful and talented young musician with a bright future. She's now got a prison conviction. And as I've said to you before, with other cases, if you get sentenced to anything over 5 years, can't travel. Can't travel. There's a whole load of hoops that you have to jump through that makes your life unbearable. So I think young Cressida can reflect on her actions, which stopped others going to weddings, cancer patients missing hospital appointments, and being with their dying relatives. Exams being missed, and sometimes missing the funerals of loved ones. She can foxtrot Oscar. Bright? Clever? No. Stupid. I've shit more intelligence in stuff than Cressida. Cressida, you don't find them on council estates, do you? No. And to all the other Just Stop Oil muppets, you're being used for another agenda. You're not that bright, are you? I've told you. You have no idea what's going on. Just Stop Oil. You're a patsy. And now you're doing 4 years inside. Actions have consequences, says VixTex. Tell that to Savills victims. Rule of law. Ah, well, depends if you're royal or not, Chris. Now, Cressida is bright, talented, and in jail. You break the law, you go to jail. It's very simple. It's a very simple concept. Fuck them all. Jail them all. All of them. Criminal damage to a national monument. Stonehenge, did you see what they did to Stonehenge? They think they're clever. FAFO. they think they're saving the world. I mean, do they not get this? Do they not get that the money comes from the oil and the gas that's in the earth, that's under our feet? It's in the North Sea. It's in the East Mediterranean. It's under the Gaza Strip. It's in the Black Sea. It's in Crimea. It's in the Caspian Sea. It's every fucking where. And these muppets are saying, just stop oil. Apologies for swearing, but it really gets my goat. There are some very stupid people. They might be academically bright, but they're stupid. Whizbits. Her name was Cressida Gethin, not Dick. However, Whizbits, you're more intelligent than that. I'm using the Dick. I know Cressida Dick was the Met's top officer. But Dick is as Dick does. But there's Cressida. She can start knocking half a dozen kids out to some Swampy and his mates and live off her very middle-class parents. She can just foxtrot Oscar. She's reaping what she sowed. And her mum's out saying, oh, I think this was a bit harsh. It doesn't matter whether she's being made an example of. That's a very good point, Stuart. I don't see what vandalism and sitting in the motorways has to do with stopping oil. Let me tell you, it's criminal damage. It's not vandalism, it's criminal damage. Notice the word criminal in there. Little Cressida didn't. Oh, can you imagine the lesbians inside are going to have a whale of a time with her. New meat, girls. So, while I'm on, like just stop oil, as I am. Peter Sadler, you're absolutely correct. Academically bright, but not a lot of straight brains. And Holly Ruston says, Adrian, get your goat or grips. Oh, gets your goat or grips your shite. I prefer the latter rant. Thank you, Holly. But let's get on about Roger Hallam. Do you know who Roger Hallam is? He's the Just Stop Oil protester sentenced to 5 years. Is he the mighty brains behind all this? I wonder if he's still going to object to petroleum jelly after 24 hours in prison. Roger by name, Roger by jail time. And then there's another 9 of them at Heathrow. So they're starting to get arrested. You know, I really don't mind if... And let's very quickly talk about Manchester. I really don't mind if, and I know it's a very, very, very fine line, because it's when we look at others and we go, oh, well, you broke the law, then you go to jail. Yeah, it's very easy to say that. But there's corrupt cops. Let's look at Manchester Airport. I don't know whether you've seen the video yet. It won't take long for me, because this is the final point. But I'm going to ask you a question. On overtime, I was only going to do 90 minutes tonight, you're wrong and rich. Is it police assault? Because from what I understand, and remember the police are led by proportionality and appropriateness. So were the police's actions proportionate and appropriate? Well, why were there men tasered at Manchester Airport? That will come out tomorrow, I'm sure, because this will be front page news. Are you aware that a female cop had her nose broken? They don't show that. They show the female cop a bit all over the place. She had her nose broken. Are you aware that my sources tell me that it was a group of 10 young men, they attacked armed officers? Not sure how that escalated, not sure how that started, but 10 young men attacking armed officers. If you look at the video, the officers with a cap on are the armed officers. Now, these are the most trained officers in any police force. They have to make split decisions. They have to make risk assessments. They have to decide whether or not. Now, if 10 young men decided to take on armed police officers, you FA and you find out. You fuck about and you find out. And why? Because when an armed officer is pointing a gun and you're looking down the barrel of a gun, don't start being lively. As Rich says, you never attempt to take an armed officer on. Correct. It's the best advice in the world. But 10 young men attacked armed officers, and one tried to grab an armed officer's weapon. I mean, grabbing an armed officer's weapon. You must be stupid as all day long. I'm surprised these boys or kids weren't shot. Now, a few of the officers I'm hearing have been taken to hospital. So whatever has happened, but you can, this, Rich, the full clip needs airing. I agree with you if they've got it, but somebody's edited it. Vix text, more like retribution. Was it proportional and reasonable? Rich, if 10 boys have had a go at armed officers, and from what I can see in the video, there was at least 3. Now, the guy that you can see stamping on this boy's head was wearing a firearms officer's cap. There must have been some kind of skirmish going on. There was 2 officers dealing with another. This has got nothing to do with skin tone. If they think that they were man enough and big enough, and the group of them was 10, taking on 3 or 4 armed officers, you stupid prats. Scum-sucking pond life. I'm surprised you weren't shot. But these officers are dealing with adrenaline at a high level. They are dealing with risk assessment by the millisecond, and they are deciding whether it is proportionate and appropriate to shoot these scum-sucking pond life. As I say, the word is a few officers have been taken to hospital, and one female cop has a broken nose. How did that happen then? Rich says, I agree. I also think it was the wrong decision to suspend the cop. I think they suspended that particular officer just to quash the flames, just to take the sting out of everything. And they'll say tomorrow, we're looking into things. There will be an investigation. So we're looking for witnesses. If anybody has any video, any phone footage, if they could contact GMP and let us have it. It's a bit like the FBI. And 9/11, the FBI confiscated all the videotapes, all the CCTV footage, and then nobody saw it again. But if there's 10 idiots, 10 scum-sucking pond life have thought that they were going to have a lucky day, exactly, they must have felt lucky. Punk, thanks, Kaz. It was their own stupid fault. Nobody was shot. But we don't know. That boy on the floor who got a kick in the face has obviously been tasered. Why was he tasered? Was he stopping? Now, I get that a mum or an elderly female was trying to protect him. What was she trying to do? Bad Wolf says, not seen the video. Which terminal did it happen at? Go to my my Twitter feed, my X feed. I think it was the most recent video that I've posted. It's the biggest news story today. I mean, we've had a president impeached. We've had Bibi Netanyahu with maggots in his bed, maggots in his room, maggots on his dining table, and we've had alarms going off in his hotel. So that's a massive story. You've got Sir... I'll call you in a moment. Sir Keir Starmer withdrawing the whip on 7 of his Labour MPs. So it's been a huge day, which is why I've taken a little bit more time tonight for this live. Will I see why that cop kicked him instead? Control-Alt-Delete. Don't think so, but it's with some knowledge that I speak. So I have very dear friends that are both officers and in uniform. And they tell me all the time. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a police officer for all the tea in China, to use a Chinese reference back to the Biden crime family. I wouldn't, because they've got to deal with the absolute scum of society. And if these boys, 10 of them, have tried to take 3 or 4 officers on, and there's been a bit of a fight, and they've drawn their tasers and they've warned them, and they've gone, oh, no, yeah. Well, now you know how many volts go through a taser, mate. And you've got firearms officers that you want to go fighting with. Did someone try and ring you? The sound went there and you're out of sync. Yeah. So I'm going to round this particular live off. There was still loads of prep that I did for this live. So I will say, please smash the likes if you can. And I hope you continue to like the video. Please make sure that you're subscribed. It is Terminal 3. Interesting. Where are they flown in from? Terminal 3. Officers are not always suspended as a matter of course, but the IPCC will be getting informed. Of course they will, Alan. Because they've had some contact with these members of the public, then the Independent Police Complaints Commission will be having a look at that. Appropriateness and proportionality, that's what they live by, and they have to risk assess in real time as they go. Ryanair and Emirates fly into Terminal 3. Interesting. Vix text, thanks Adrian, to all out there. Remember, it's the 100th live on Sunday, so tell all your family. Tell everybody in the world. As Scotty would say, tell 10 to tell 10. Not that I'm nicking it, Scotty, before you start. But please, we're trying to make it as entertaining as possible. It'll be a couple of hours, fingers crossed, on Sunday night, 8 till 10. Make sure you're subbed, otherwise you might miss stuff. As Amalia came to the live tonight, she hadn't had an alert. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, my name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for all your indulgence and your support and your Battenberg. I didn't get any Yalta wine tonight, you tightwad, but hopefully we'll have some fizz for Sunday, make it a bit special. But most of all, stay safe, be safe, and whatever you do, wherever you go, don't forget the Battenberg.